One of my fondest memories from my childhood was my family movie nights. And one of my fondest family movie nights was the first time my dad showed us A New Hope. He whipped out that beautiful DVD box set that I know every person had at some point
Damn.
in the 2000s.
I wish I had that.
It was.
It's got aliens.
Being a stupid 5-year-old, that's all I needed, and he popped that standard definition sucker in. Yeah, it wasn't bad. And ever since then, I've loved Star Wars. I watched all the movies multiple times, watched Clone Wars back when the Wii had Netflix. I played all the spin-off games. I bought all that Star Wars merch. Oh, what's that? Revenge of the Sith is coming out? Yeah, you bet my elementary school ass was eating my Wheaties with that lightsaber spoon. I'm such a big Star Wars fan that I even harassed Ryan Johnson's family every day for the past.
It's just a movie, guys. What the
Star
fuck?
Wars has been a big part of my life, and it pains me to say that Star Wars is now draining me. A franchise that once had me on the edge of my seat for every new release now has me watching new content with a malaise obligation.
Honestly, I don't even watch it. After Mandalorian Season 2, I've just kind of detached myself entirely from Star Wars stuff. It's just became so repetitive all of a sudden. Like, before you had certain video games and spin-offs that had, like, fun with stuff, now it's just too crowded. Not to mention weird and not exactly as magical as before. Like, after the events of Mandalorian Season 2, I was like, I can't believe that's how it fucking ended. And after that, I just cut off everything else. I heard about the Boba Fett show, never watched it. Then we had, what was it? What was after Boba Fett show? Don't know, don't care. Then we had Andor, which I heard good things about it, but I never watched it because, again, kind of drained everything out of me recently when it comes to Star Wars media, and then everything else came out and meh. Not to mention, other shows got made, like, for example, The Bad Batch. I never watched it, but apparently they destroyed Camino and stuff like that, which just clearly shows they're trying to hoard to the sequel trilogy's canon, because God knows Disney won't accept the fact that to make that just the AU and return back to Legends. At that point, Legends, as problematic as it was, at least tried something. Why am I complaining? Let's just keep watching.
I make this video with the intent not to complain or simply hate, but to provide some valid criticism on a franchise I love, so hopefully one day it can improve in the future.
Okay. It's draining me.
Now, just to make sure we're all on the same page here, I'm mostly focusing on the Star Wars TV shows of the past few years.
Obi-Wan Kenobi. Oh yeah, Obi-Wan Kenobi was the one I think came out afterwards. Tales of the Jedi, I've never watched it. I've watched Visions. It actually had some interesting, like, you know, stories inspired to be a part of Star Wars, but I wouldn't exactly call those canon. Though I will say, some of the anime stuff that they added was kind of just senseless fun. Yes, that was the good thing about it. Bad Batch I haven't watched. Andor said, like I said, it was good, but I never watched it. Clone Wars, kind of. I think I stopped watching after Ahsoka left, but I kind of watched some interviews and stuff showing me the last episode, so I should probably react to Clone Wars, actually. Ahsoka, never watched it. I don't plan to, I hope, to watch it.
Or
Just the TV shows.
Society circles, the Disney Plus era.
Star Wars The Phantom Menace is objectively the best Star Wars movie.
Sure.
Give me the option of having a one-night stand with Jabba the Hutt or having to throw my hat into the ring of the dumpster fire that is Star Wars movie discussions. You already know I'm throwing on my leg, constantly hitting Jabba with that. Let's say for this video, all the Star Wars movies are good. Yes, Patrick, even The Phantom Menace. For the sake of brevity and clarity...
Why are people dunking on The Phantom Menace? I mean, it's not good, but I wouldn't exactly call it terrible. Especially compared to the, sequel trilogy.
For the shows I talk about, there's going to be one or two big issues highlighted. And as we go on, you'll start to see that a lot of these issues can overlap between the shows. And
No Jar Jar Binks.
Down Timmy. Sorry guys, that kid sucks. Anyways, the first show to kick off our loose chronological timeline is...
Hunter,
Echo, Tech, Wrecker, and Crosshair.
If you have finished watching the Clone Wars, then I know you remember how good that finale was. The finale of the Clone Wars was hands down some of the best Star Wars thing I had ever watched. I rode that Clone Wars high for months, and at the peak of the hype, Disney announces they're making a Clone Wars spin-off. More Clone Wars? Are you for real? Dude, I'm gonna piss my pants. I am
Dude, that's not Clone Wars. It's separate. Like, that's like saying Rebels was a spin-off of Clone Wars. Technically speaking, it is because it continues the Maul and Ahsoka stuff, but at that point it was a completely different show, separate from Clone Wars.
Yeah, it was okay. The Bad Batch was certainly a Star Wars show. I mean, don't get me wrong, it was no train wrecker, but it certainly did not compare to its predecessor. Even after rewatching both seasons, it's just kinda okay. And the reason for this is, honestly, every time a new Bad Batch episode comes out, I always have this mental dice roll. Is this going to be another Sid, I got another job episode, or am I actually going to see something cool? Unfortunately, a fair chunk...
Actually, yeah, that is a fair
I think the show
point.
has some pretty good highs.
You want to know why they...
I will admit, some of the stuff with the clones, especially with the Empire, seems genuinely interesting, but they kind of detract from the whole bounty hunting, survival, and weird stuff. So it kind of just, it really does feel like a dice roll, doesn't it? Huh.
Put me in charge. It's because I'm willing to do what needs to be done. Execute Order 66.
Oh yeah, that's how it started. Kamino being destroyed, which is bullshit.
Are we making the galaxy better?
This one infuriated the fuck out of me. Imagine the guy who, in comparison to Rex, after the events of episode 3, never got one mention in any other show. And here he is finally working with the Empire, mind you. And then he gets removed off screen, never to be seen again. Like, Cody is one of my characters that I wanted to see the most from Clone Wars, and he got completely shafted afterwards. I know a lot of people like Rex, but god damn it, Rex isn't the only clone, for fuck's sakes. He took a lot of the spotlight that should have been shared with Cody. Fucking hell.
But a lot of very middle of the road or just kind of boring stuff.
Nice going, kid.
After I've been so good to you.
No, Mako, honest. I thought you could make some money off it, that's all.
A mutually beneficial arrangement. You pull a job for me, and I get the information you want.
Whoa. You said the job paid 3 times this.
For me.
Clone Wars kind of suffered from the same problem too, but the Bad Batch really made you feel the filler. Like, can you look me straight in the cheesecake and honestly say what happened when the Bad Batch landed on a desolate moon? Or why the Bad Batch had to go fight a Rancor? I sure as hell can't, because I had to Google what that episode was just to remember it existed. I'm also going to lump in Tales of the Jedi and Star Wars Vision with this point, because I think those shows suffered from a similar problem. You had episodes that either really hit, or were just kind of meh. It can be really frustrating.
Tales of the Jedi was just experimental. I can let it pass. Not Tales of Jedi. What the fuck? I meant Visions. Visions was experimental. It had different, stories that were separate from it, from like one decisive continuity. So that one can get a pass in my book. The other one, Tales of the Jedi, I think it's, assuming by the title, it's probably the same, but with several episodes at the very least interconnecting with each other. No idea, but we're gonna see that right now, I suppose.
To have a show fluctuate in quality episode to episode, but overall, The Bad Batch was a pretty solid start to the Star Wars TV run.
Yeah, look, the giant chicken's Boba Fett.
The Book of Boba Fett is where a lot of the cracks started to show for me. You can criticize the new take on Boba's character, the writing, the choreography, blah, blah, blah. There's already thousands of videos with some dog shit thumbnails about the same. No, there's something the wrong way with the Book of Boba Fett. Last year at a family dinner, my brother made a good point. He said that Star Wars TV shows are too reliant on cutting up and stretching content across its extended universe, rather than reach a succinct, satisfying conclusion in a self-contained season. God damn, that was a tough alliteration. Thus, you are always left waiting to see what happens in the next show, further following the trail of Star Wars breadcrumbs. The Book of Boba Fett is extremely guilty of this. Like, there are several major characters in this show that you would have no idea who they are if you did not follow that breadcrumb trail
Cad Bane.
and watch the other shows. So
He looks fuck
let's see
ugly.
what Boba Fett would be like from the perspective of someone who's never watched anything else besides the Star Wars movies.
Who's that silver Boba Fett guy?
You gotta watch The Mandalorian.
Why is there a mini Yoda?
You gotta watch The Mandalorian.
What's this blue cowboy's deal? Why does he hate Boba Fett?
You gotta watch The Clone Wars.
Who is that tentacle girl?
You gotta watch Clone Wars.
Why is Luke here?
You gotta watch...
Is that Tortuga from Breaking Bad?
No, you got... Yeah, how did you... This MCU style of writing is great for pumping out content, but it's a total 9-iron to the kneecap for any show to stand on its own.
Ugh.
So much of Boba Fett leaned on more successful shows that it stripped Boba Fett of any of its own identity. It now also means that the Mega
Uno reverse card.
argument Uno reverse card that I'm sure some of you are already typing right now, if you don't like it, then don't watch it.
Ah,
It's no
the
longer
classic.
applicable. I mean, think about it this way. If I was a casual Mandalorian fan and I only cared about the Baby Yoda show and did not care or watch the Book of Boba Fett, I'd be screwed. Because now, if I want to watch what the happened between season 2 and 3, I have to watch a completely different
season
show
3?
about some...
Did I ever tell you about Ahsoka Tano? She was your father's exotic teenage alien apprentice.
Boba Fett made me mad. For a lot of people, the Obi-Wan show felt like the reason to get a Disney Plus account. For years, fans had always talked about
Really?
an Obi-Wan standalone movie or show, and then boom, it was here.
Honestly, did we really need it? Like, one of my infamous arguments is, do we really need a show about Obi-Wan? Like, we already know the story, right? He was Qui-Gon Jinn's apprentice, became Anakin's master, fought in a war with him, ultimately had to chop off his limbs and say goodbye to him. And he lived in isolation, where he eventually helped Luke escape Tatooine, finding his destiny and dying peacefully well, not dying peacefully, but still, relatively speaking, peacefully, at the hands of his apprentice, at the very least. And became a ghost that gave advice and motivations to Luke. Like, all things considered, his story was just done. He was like the alleged young older brother / wise mentor for the Skywalkers. Did you really need more stuff for him? Like, on the one hand, if we saw a young Obi-Wan's upbringings, that would be cool, I think. But we got episode 3 to 4 Obi-Wan, which is just confusing. It just doesn't make sense to have those things interlock with one another. Like, what exactly does this do for Obi-Wan? It just gives us no explanation, rhyme, or reason for it to be there. It's weird. Like, if they did something... Actually, now that I remember, from Tales of the Jedi, they did explore some stuff about Dooku, which I haven't watched, but I'm assuming is really cool, because it did involve Qui-Gon Jinn, young Qui-Gon Jinn, which is definitely something I'd rather watch, honestly. And it explains some of the stuff as to why eventually Dooku went to the dark side, which honestly sounds interesting to watch. And I wish Obi-Wan's show did that in a sense, like how he became a Padawan, what were his views with Qui-Gon in comparison to the Jedi Order, because Qui-Gon was apparently quite the rebel in comparison to the Jedi Order, so maybe Obi-Wan had that ordeal with himself. Also, Satine. In Clone Wars, we quite literally had an arc where Obi-Wan was apparently protecting Satine. We never got to see how exactly did that happen and what occurred after that, but apparently it was so impactful to Obi-Wan that if Satine quite literally said, "I love you, stay with me," he was gonna leave the Jedi Order. How cool would it have been to have an interaction like that with Qui-Gon? Like, for example, Qui-Gon encouraged him to leave the Jedi Order if Sabine felt the same way. Or even more so like that. Or what about, for example, Obi-Wan and Anakin discussions before his turn to the dark side? Maybe even an interaction with Ahsoka. Because I don't think we ever got any in the Clone Wars with Obi-Wan and Ahsoka. Which is weird. Huh. But yeah, explore more his past and flesh him out to essentially be the wise old mentor that he becomes in episode 4. And the wise wisdom-giving Force ghost of 5 and beyond. To have him basically be episode 3 to 4 Obi-Wan is weird. Also, they could have grayed his hair a bit more. Making him just older Obi-Wan from episode 3 is just kinda lazy, if you ask me. I don't watch the show, but still. Nitpicking.
The Book of Boba Fett, while not terrible, did dent my faith in live-action Star Wars content. But this was Obi-Wan, man. This was the one. This was going to be the show that put Disney Plus on the map. They got Hayden back. They spent millions to get Ewan back. Wow, I was so hyped.
Yeah, he did return as a ghost, right?
Simply put, Obi-Wan had way more content than needed. The entire goal.
Oh, they do explore some of the stuff from the past.
Obi-Wan got to get over Anakin dying and not be sad. This is the theme that was in all of the marketing. It was in all of the promotional materials. And anyone that watched this show could probably tell that that's the real drama. The conflict between Vader and Obi-Wan is why people stuck around. This conflict is the entire purpose of the show existing. I mean, you don't gotta lie to me. I know your little dirty ass wanted to see that Vader Obi-Wan rematch. I want that idea from the streaming services perspective. That conflict between Obi-Wan and Vader can only last for so long before it's either resolved or gets stale. So what do? Well, you throw in an extra 2 hours of a kid being kidnapped, a new character that no one had any previous interest in, and a Scrubs mole. And what was our payoff?
What the fuck is a Scrubs mole?
You know what? Here's my 45-second pitch of how to make the Obi-Wan show into a movie. Buckle up. Obi-Wan is chilling being a sad hermit in Tatooine.
California.
He's a Jedi. Vader hears this from his
I would have said Australia.
Using the Force Bloodhound sniff or something. They fight. Obi loses and Vader realizes, oh, there's probably a reason why your dusty ass is on this planet. Obi has to get it together and unlock that former Jedi he once was or risk losing Luke. Vader fights Obi-Wan with his new power level unlocked, and the movie can end just like how it did in the show, with Vader pissing off and Obi-Wan doing hot boy Qui-Gon shit. Throw in some fan service and you're good. What is going to make more money for a streaming service? A one-off movie or an extended series with the possibility of multiple seasons?
Why ask
it was
that?
Rhetorical, Tim.
Yeah.
This goddamn kid. In short, more content.
Oh yeah, Mandalorian. Should have guessed that.
Tom, I'm here outside the house of your average Star Wars fan. We heard rumors that he is currently watching The Mandalorian Season 3. Let's check inside to see how things are going.
Yummy. I love popcorn.
The Force. I was isolating the potential to wield the Force.
What the hell?
And incorporating it into an unstoppable army.
Let me shoot that supreme bullshit right about now.
I was isolating the potential to wield the Force.
What the hell?
And incorporating it into an unstoppable army.
Incorporating the Force into an army. You know, funnily enough, The Force Unleashed had a plot like that, where Darth Vader cloned his apprentice and made an army of Force-sensitive clones from, you know, using Starkiller as a template. Honestly, that one makes far more sense than whatever the fuck I just heard. I feel like my head's about to explode at the idiocy in display. An army of, oh my fucking, they really are that unoriginal, huh?
I want to remind you of the problems that existed from our previous examples. Yeah, in its current state, The Mandalorian now has all of these problems. Let's do a quick rundown of Disney Plus's Golden Mynock.
Golden Mynock.
Season 1 of The Mandalorian is great.
Never got an exploration of the droid stuff. The weird fact that this guy kept a droid hidden from the Mandalorian was some bullshit. The fact that the Darksaber appeared out of nowhere was also some bullshit. And some of the stuff was overall just kind of an inconsistent clusterfuck. Still not too bad, all things considered.
I do think there is a little bit of that Bad Batch issue where some episodes feel far more impactful than others. Like the Village episode with the ATST and the Jawa stealing ship parts.
No.
Yeah, like I said, those episodes are weird.
These were small little side quests, but definitely not on the level of the rest of the season. But Season 1 was still incredibly solid and worked well for our first outing of a live-action Star Wars TV show. Mando Season 2 is still okay, but a lot of the problems that affected other Star Wars TV shows really starts to creep in here. Right off the bat in Episode 1, there's that breadcrumb trail problem. We already have most of the episode dedicated to...
You know what, honestly, it started off rather interesting, but then it just kind of plummeted. Like a downward spiral in a toilet.
They're trying to tie in a legacy character, Boba Fett, or as he's known in low society circles, Booba Fett. We also
Boba
have another episode
Fett.
dedicated
No, it's
to
Boba.
Ahsoka
It's Boba.
and Mando. Part of why Season 1 worked so well was it was hyper-focused on Mando and Grogu. There were definitely side characters with good arcs, but the spotlight mostly stayed on our armor plushie duo. But now, in Season 2, Mando has to share screen time with Bo-Katan, Ahsoka, Boba Fett. Oh yeah, and Luke Skywalker.
Oh yeah.
My point about this breadcrumb problem.
Anakin did come back.
The Season 2 finale of Mando aired. What were more people talking about? Mando's semi-complete character arc of giving away Grogu, or how Luke Skywalker showed up and killed those droids and took off his hood and... Frog Lady, I'm sorry, I love you, but your whole screen time was kind of a distraction.
Oh yeah, the whole thing of carrying her babies across for payment? Was that the plot? Can't believe I actually remembered that. For some strange reason. The cutoffs.
Season 3 pretty much had every problem I outlined earlier here in full force. Get it? Because it's the 4. Too much content? Yup. I can't tell you how much of Season 3 just felt like filler. Like when Mando first lands on Mandalore, nearly half the episode is them getting Mando's ship, then finding a good place to land, sending out a slow-ass droid to check the atmosphere, fighting some random monkey man that felt like it was just put in there to remind you have a pulse. There's just so much extra stuff just in one episode that could have been condensed way down. This episode felt like the opening of Birdemic, where we see every single step of the main character's day.
You show me some gas.
Or what about the episode where the kid gets birdnapped, and in the middle of this, we have a random flashback to Order 66? I mean, don't get me wrong. Or the episode where Mando suddenly becomes Blade Runner, and they have to stop a rogue super battle droid to help save Jack Black and Lizzo from Doc Brown. What is happening?
Yeah, what the shit?
Was a visionary.
Quick side note,
It was a visionary.
episode with the celebrity cameos, but I don't think enough people roasted the part where they put a super battle droid in the morgue to get a CSI autopsy.
They actually did that? What the fuck? Oh, it's stupid. Oh my god. Why the fuck are you doing an autopsy on a droid of all things? It's a droid. Just ask a mechanic and disassemble it. What the fuck? Oh my god. Oh, that is... Honestly, the show might be worth watching just for the supreme idiocy. What the fuck? An autopsy on a droid. I can't. This is...
Next up, inconsistent quality. Well, you've got nearly an entire episode centered around a nerdy scientist getting catfished, and a finale with Gus Fring getting carpet bombed by Skinny Pete.
What?
Finally, the breadcrumb trail. Welp, again, You've got nearly an entire episode centered around a nerdy scientist getting catfished. Mando is entirely sidelined in his own show by Bo-Katan, who is also probably getting set up for her own spin-off or future seasons. And I really can't emphasize
Unlikely.
that enough either. In Mando's own show, he has like nothing to do other than
The Mandalorian.
never in this season. What happened to Cara Dune? Well, that requires a different breadcrumb trail. I honestly don't like having to criticize The Mandalorian like this, since it genuinely started off as some of the best Star Wars has to offer, but ironically what was once Disney Plus's best show has now become their biggest embarrassment. So that's it for Star Wars shows. They all sucked, and there has been nothing good since Clone Wars. But
Can we get someone for Andor? I get it. Why'd you have to hype it up so much? Jeez, man. Also, I now realize the symbol on Andor looks a lot like the Quake symbol. Doesn't it? It's not just me, right?
all those critiques I had of the other Star Wars shows, throw that crap in the trash compactor, because none of it applies to Andor. This is one of the only Disney Plus Star Wars shows, along with Mando Season 1, that actually felt like it was made with artistic freedom and a vision. Every episode has a purpose. It advances the plot or provides genuinely interesting character interactions. I never once felt like I was watching filler. The settings,
yeah, that's good.
Oh my goodness, they feel fresh and unique. Seriously, how did Disney just let an Electra murder bunker fly? There's very little reliance on established characters to sell the story too. Saw Gerrera shows up for like 5 minutes, but it served a purpose beyond fan service. It helped provide some complexity to the rebel side of things, and it shows us that not every single person fighting the Empire is necessarily a good person. There are also new characters that are expertly written and feel like real people, like Luthen's monologue. Oh my god, dude. Action set pieces are well paced and given proper time to build, where every other Star Wars TV show misstepped. Andor took a massive fucking Olympic high jump ahead. It truly is the exception to the Star Wars TV problems, and in a weird way, that really pisses me off. Because Andor is this good after it had so much going against it. The show is centered around a pretty unknown character whose only real character development in Rogue One was
been in this fight since I was 6 years old.
I'll also add that Rogue One came out years ago. Probably most
Eesh, 2016? God, I feel old.
Was also announced.
Holy shit, I just realized it's almost a decade since that movie's release. Bruh.
Is their cash cow, and Tales of the Jedi is building upon one of the most beloved shows of Star Wars. So even if you are a hardcore Star Wars fan like myself, Andor kind of fell to the wayside a little bit. I knew it existed, and I know they announced it. I watched the trailer, but alongside a new season of Mandalorian, a Clone Wars spinoff, my attention was elsewhere. And yet, it was still amazing. So I'm left asking myself, what's the excuse for the rest of Star Wars shows? Why does the flagship Disney Plus show flounder while Andor killed it? I think why Andor frustrates me is because it shows what a Star Wars show can be. It set a bar so high that now every other show needs to hit it, which for the most part they haven't. Something else that really has drained me about Star Wars television is there's no time for fans to breathe and process a show. It feels like once you finish a show, within the next few months, or hell, sometimes while you're watching that show, there's another one announced and on the way. And while
it's basically feeding you slop. You're a sheep, and they're just putting more grass on the field for you to eat. As opposed to, you know, being a human and select your choice of what you want to consume. Nah, be a sheep, continue to eat the slop.
Now they announce multiple shows so frequently and sometimes at the same time that your focus is fractured. Like
Lando, really?
From 2008 to
wait, hold on, let me just rewind. So we have Rangers of the New Republic, Ahsoka, Andor, Obi-Wan, Bad Batch, Visions. Lando? Seriously, a Lando show? The Acolyte, A Droid Story, and Rogue Squadron. Actually, Rogue Squadron, like from the game that I like?
Like, take a look at this. From 2008 to 2018, you had this many Star Wars TV shows running.
Yeah.
In about 10 years, 3 shows aired and finished. Compare this to a timeline
Yeah, it was canceled,
from
right?
2019 to 2023. In 4 years, you had The Mandalorian, the final season of Clone Wars, The Bad Batch, The Book of Boba Fett, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Andor, Tales of the Jedi, Star Wars Visions, and Ahsoka. Not to mention the
Jesus
other upcoming
Christ.
shows that were announced in this timeline as well. And
Fuck.
several of these shows have multiple seasons planned. Do you see what I mean about there being too much too fast? But
Yeah.
here's the worst part of this. I would be totally okay with this amount of content if the quality was consistent. I know so far I've made a lot of these shows sound like doo-doo fart, but they're not. A lot of Star Wars TV is just fine, and therein lies the problem. With the exception of Andor, a lot of these shows don't make me feel much of anything. Watching a new Star Wars TV show has felt a lot more like checking a box on a watch list rather than something that I need to watch. I've always been a big proponent of the idea
I mean, you're
that the
kings.
worst thing a TV show, a movie, or any piece of art can do is make you feel...
Is that an actual art
if you
piece?
feel
What the fuck?
This was a video I was hoping not to make, but it's something that has been bothering me for a while now. But I don't want to just sit here and criticize. So you know what? Dave Filoni, John Iron Man 2, George No Hope, Force Ghost Mickey, Jar Jar. Here's my open letter to y'all and how to fix this. You might want to check your spam. It goes there like every time. You never respond to my emails. Never mind. It's time for the solution lightning round. Make less? Thank you. No, seriously, space out your releases more. Allow more time for your releases to naturally build hype and not overshadow each other. Also, scale down the length of shows that don't need it. If you have
Were those conjoined Hut twins? Yeah, I think those are conjoined Hut twins. What the hell? I did not expect that to be a thing in Star Wars. Nor did I see it coming.
each other. Also, scale down the length of shows that don't need it. If you have an episode of The Bad Batch where nothing of consequence happens to our characters,
Yeah, those
then leave it on
characters
the
are ass. Why'd they add them
It's
back?
Quality over quantity. Yeah. Yeah, make it happen. Make shows stand on their own merits or put more time into making new compelling characters. Andor did this perfectly, so I know it can be done. It's fine to have cameos, but they should not be the main reason people stick around to watch.
Yeah, true.
I don't want Star Wars TV to fail. I criticize because I care. You can point out flaws in something you enjoy and still be a fan. That's why Olive Garden still exists. So far, Ahsoka is currently in the middle of its season, and I really hope it's good. I've been impressed with the first few episodes, but that's happened to me in the past. But where I'm at mentally right now, I can already feel I'm grabbing for my checklist rather than my popcorn. Congratulations, viewer. You've bested your attention span and made it to the end.
Hey, you're
I'll
welcome.
start doing something at the end of each video where I give you guys a little bit of an insight of what I liked best about each video. So, without further ado, my favorite edit of this video was...
The droid autopsy.
I really loved this. I don't know why. It was so funny to me that they put a robot in a morgue, but that was just the funniest thing ever. And I thought it was pretty funny.
It is really hilarious, the fact that they have a droid in a morgue of all things. I mean, I get it. Like, some droids are genuinely fun and sentient, maybe, like R2-D2, but a super battle droid getting that treatment? What the fuck? It's hilarious, still.
Making CSI, the Confederacy of Independent Systems. Oh my gosh, it's hilarious, dude. It's hilarious. Yeah, I need to go touch some grass. Quick update about the channel. I appreciate a lot of the feedback I got on the Toy Story video. Glad you guys enjoyed that absolutely crap.
If only anyone donated on my Patreon.
Also, I am now back from
Or my
vacation,
Ko-fi.
from work, and I'm now working full-time again. So if the videos slow down a little bit, I apologize. Still doing my best to get as much out as I can. But I really enjoy making videos as highly edited and fun as I can. So I'll try and get that out as quick as I can. That's all I got. See you in the next one.
Bye. That almost sounded nice, not you?